Hey everyone, I am Erin and welcome to my channel, Homebody. This is a really great place if you love being at home and you just want to create a more juicy environment and relationship with your home, or if you want to. So today I was inspired by a friend of mine who recently saw me making some rosemary olive oil for cooking and also really good for the skin. But she said, "Hey Erin, I have a rosemary bush in my backyard. What do I do? Do I just clip the rosemary and then pour olive oil over it? Or how do I make this rosemary olive oil?" And so it inspired me to share not just how to make the oil, which I'm gonna talk about in this video, but also how to harvest if you have any herbs growing at home that you want to make medicines with, specifically herbal infused oils. So if you have any herbs growing in your garden or locally around you, this is a good video for you to just help inspire you to create some medicines with those plants. First, I want to mention that whatever plants that you are harvesting from, you want to make sure, especially if they're not in your home and you don't have control over what goes on them, to just be sure to choose plants that are not having like pesticides and stuff sprayed on them, or even in an area where like a lot of dogs on like a hike might be peeing on them, because if you're going to be making medicines from those plants, you're going to be ingesting whatever's on the plant, obviously. So just wanted to preface with that and just bring that to your attention of being mindful of what has been sprayed on the plant. So the first thing I want to offer that might be more of like a non-traditional way to harvest is to really come to the plant, obviously like get some shears or scissors or whatever, and come to the plant with a very like respectful and open heart and check in with the plant. Like, "Hey plant, thank you for making such beautiful medicine. Is it okay if I use some of this medicine for my own medicinal use?" And ask for permission. So this is a really beautiful way to just sort of restore that reciprocal relationship with the earth that has been really neglected over generations or years with how we've treated the earth. So for me, this is just like a really beautiful way to honor the plant, to honor the earth, to honor that not every plant is ready to be harvested. Like if you have a really scraggly plant with like two little, bushes of rosemary on it, probably not going to want to harvest from that plant. So just to sort of take into account like, oh, this plant is a living being, and asking for permission. So what I notice is like I drop into my heart and I'll notice the energy of the plant come forward. Sometimes I don't, sometimes I do. Mostly I do, and I'll ask for permission, and most of the time I will feel a yes, just like an intuitive yes. And then what I like to do is I like to give some sort of offering as the exchange, right? Like I get to clip some of this medicine and then I give the plant an offering, again, just to sort of deepen and rebuild really the relationship of reciprocity that our ancestors had with the earth that we really haven't been taught. So I ask for permission and then I give an offering. So an offering might just be literally water. You might just pour water, thank you, and then pour water on the roots. You might drop some rose petals. I've done that before where I've had like some old dried rose petals that I dropped over the plant just as a thank you. I've also had herbal medicine, like I used to use a lot of ormus, play with a lot of ormus. So I would have ormus that sort of went bad for my consumption, but it's still a really beautiful medicine. So I would pour the ormus into the roots. Or, I've also given plants other dried plant. Like I had some dried sage that I gave to some mugwort that I harvested. So just ask for permission and then give an offering of thanks, of gratitude, of appreciation. And then snip a couple pieces of, or however much of the herb that you need. So this is obviously a general video. I'm not gonna tell you exactly how to harvest every single herb. They're all gonna be different. So if you're looking for specific ways to harvest specific herbs, then maybe go YouTube it up and see what you can find. This is just sort of a general way to respectfully harvest and then create herbal oil. So with that said, you'll take a few snips of however much of the herb you need. So in this case, we're kind of talking about rosemary because, as I said, my friend inspired this video. So when I make oil, I like to do 1 ounce in weight of the herb to 7 ounces of oil. So you're gonna need, if you wanna make 7 ounces of oil, you're gonna need 1 ounce of herb. So what I use is my trusty little kitchen scale, and I just weigh out 1 ounce of herb. With something like rosemary, you're not gonna use the sticks, right? You're only gonna use the little pieces of rosemary. So with something like making herbal oil, you wanna make sure that you're drying out the plant first, because all of the plants and everything in nature, right, has a water content when it's alive. And so when you combine water with oil, the oil will go rancid. So you want to make sure that you're drying out your plants. This is for most plants. Some plants do better with oil, with fresh, but most do better with dry. So if you're going to do rosemary or chamomile or thyme or basil or something like that that you could easily grow in your garden, I highly suggest drying the plant out first. So after you take your snips, you can put up like a little string with some little clips on it to hang dry them. I just wash them under the sink with water and maybe some like Dr. Bronner's or something, and then lay them on a towel to fully dry, and then let them dry out for about 2 weeks. I just literally Googled when I was doing my rosemary, how long does it take for rosemary to dry out? And I found 2 weeks. So I gave it actually about a month because I wasn't ready to do it after 2 weeks, but just try Googling whatever herb you're working with and see how long it takes to dry out. So once you have it dried out, or maybe before, after you pick it, you'll want to weigh it before you add the oil. You want to get a kitchen scale, like just a little guy like this, and weigh out 1 ounce of dried herb. And this doesn't have to be perfect, right? So if you have a little bit less, that's okay. I think I actually had a little bit less when I made this rosemary oil. Oh my gosh, look how beautiful that is, right? So good. So I think I had about a little bit less than an ounce of oil or of herb, but that's okay. This is an art, not a science. So then after my herb was dried, I took 1 ounce of dried herb. I put it in a mason jar like this. This is another oil I have going right now, but I put the dried herb in the jar and I blended it up into a powder. Now you don't have to do this. This is just an extra step that I like to do to release some of the medicinal properties. But you don't have to. So you could grind it up with a mortar and pestle and put it in here. You could just put it in here straight, or you could blast it up in your blender or in like a food processor. So after you put your dried herb in, you're going to add your oil. So you want to measure out 7 ounces in volume of oil. So you can get like a measuring cup, or I just use this little mason jar. It has the little measuring things on the side. 7 ounces of oil. So once you add the oil to the actual herb in the jar, then you can set it in a dark, cool place for 1 to 4 weeks. You can shake it up every day or just leave it. You can blend it up every once in a while in the blender, also optional. Literally, if you just want to do easy button, just take your dried herbs, put it in here, add your oil, put it in a dark place, and give it a shake every once in a while. And then eventually, when you're ready to use it after about a month, you will want to strain the herbs out with something like muslin or a nut milk bag or something like that, where you can get the plant matter out, because you do want just a straight oil. So you'll find that after you strain the plant matter out, you'll have something that looks like this, I hope, right? Doesn't that just looks so beautiful? So the darker, that's the medicinal properties of the plant coming into the oil. So I hope that was helpful for you. Just to review the steps here. So we want to, 1, ask permission from the plant. Hi, just honor this plant being, ask if it's okay if we harvest the medicine. And then if you get a yes intuitively, then give the plant an offering, water, or, a couple pieces of your hair, or just anything like rose petals, anything, a flower, to offer your gratitude. Then you'll dry the herb. And then once the herb is fully dried, we want all the water content out, you'll mix it with the oil. So we want 1 ounce of dried herb to 7 ounces of volume of oil. And then you'll combine it and blend it if you want, or just leave it in your cupboard, shake it up for 1 to 4 weeks, strain out the plant matter, and then you'll have your beautiful herbal cooking oil. Rosemary is beautiful, sage, thyme, basil would be another beautiful one. You could even do, like, if you had dried garlic. I've never tried that before, but that could be really amazing, garlic oil. And I'm sure tons of other ones that you could get, that you could get creative with. Sage, rosemary, and thyme, that is a great one to do with olive oil or just rosemary or any of those. I highly suggest it. You know, you can put it on like popcorn, you could put it on bread. I made some homemade bread last night with my husband. We put the oil into the bread maker and then we dipped the bread in it after the bread was done. Oh my God, so good. The other thing you can do is like put it with pasta or like caprese salad with tomatoes and mozzarella or something like that. You know, you can get creative with how you use it. Hope you have fun with this. Hope this was helpful and clarifying for you. And I hope this inspires you to just go out in your garden and pick some herbs and make yourself some beautiful cooking oil that you could just throw in your next meal and not only up the taste value, but up the medicinal value. Kitchen herbalism is an amazing way to just bring more nutrients, antioxidants, anti-inflammatory, medicinal properties of these plants into our bodies and into our meals, really without too much effort. So this is so much fun. So I hope you try it. Leave me a comment in the comments if you have questions, or if you try it, let me know how it goes. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, or share it with someone who you think could enjoy being inspired to create some cooking oil for themselves. So lots of loves, friends. I will see you next time on my next Thursday video. Have a beautiful day.